Okay. Hello there, YouTube. I hope you're doing well. Having a great day. Move my phone just a tiny bit over here if I can. Okay. Let's see. Looks like I'm having some issues here with Instagram. Give me just a second, YouTube. I'm going to see if I can get myself hooked up here too. I don't know what's going on with this. It seems to be having an issue. Let's see here. Give me just 1 second. I'll be right there. Hello there, Insay Marketers. I see your super chat, and I want to try this. Give me just 1 second. Discard media. Okay, we're going to try this again. There we go. We're having trouble. Okay, so I'm not sure. It looks like for some reason, it doesn't seem to be working here today. That's okay. All right. Happy Friday to you, Ian. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad to be here on Fridays. It's my pleasure to spend this time with you guys. I'm going to come back up to the top in just a second, but I'm going to go ahead and jump down to Insay Marketers' question, $5 contribution. Thank you. Question is, what is someone really saying biologically when they say CMOS gives them energy? I know coffee can give you false energy, but CMOS? Okay. Yeah, well, it's a good question. I mean, CMOS is going to be relatively high in protein, and excess protein does act as a stimulant. So I don't know if someone will be stimulated for that reason or stimulated because of something else in the CMOS. But as you say, coffee gives people false energy because it's a stimulant. So people feel energized, right? But then actually wind up later on feeling worse because all stimulants leave you depleted. The truth, about stimulants is that while you feel more energetic in the moment you're consuming them, and sometime afterward, they're actually leaving you worse off with lower energy than you started. And so I don't know if there's something in CMOS that is having a similar effect. It's a good question. And I'm sorry, I wish I could tell you more. Hello, Stephanie. Stephanie has made a $5 contribution and said, hello, good morning. Good morning to you too. Hope you're having a great day and a great week. Ian, 6 times 4. I should just count the 4s at some point. I believe it's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. It says, I know you squat when you poop. Do you balance on the edge of a Western toilet? If so, could it break by the weight being on the small surface area of the feet? Or have you modified your toilet? Thanks. I have not modified my toilet. I have squatted on toilets all over the world. I've been doing this now for 30 years. And I do indeed balance on the seat of the toilet. I don't use the rim. I use the seat. The rim is fairly narrow on most toilets. The seat, is a bit wider. And although it's not perfectly flat in most cases, it's perfectly comfortable for me to squat right on the toilet seat. And what that would look like is essentially feet, right, are going to be right on the toilet seat like that. Okay, that's the position. This is what we would do if we were outside in nature in the forest. Now notice, you can't really see very well, but my feet are flat. If you can't get your feet flat because you don't have the flexibility in your Achilles heels, then you're going to have to be up here, which requires strength and balance. Now I'm using strength to keep me up there in balance, and that's not going to be comfortable. If you can get into the squatting position where your feet are flat on the floor, it's completely resting. It's like standing. When you stand up, your weight is balanced. It doesn't take a lot of strength. Most people I know can stand for quite a while. I can, Now the other thing with squatting is you need flexibility in your knees, in your hips, and in your groins. And as well as the Achilles tendon. If you don't have flexibility in all 4 of those areas, that's going to be difficult to do. I have heard of toilets breaking, but I don't know of anyone that this has happened to. And I've worked with people who are pretty heavy. Now, I mean, usually people who are morbidly obese are going to have trouble doing this anyway because they tend to be less flexible. And I had a client recently who told me that she was too wide. The toilet seat was just too narrow for her because of her overweight situation. And so, but you know, anyone who's relatively lean, I'm 150 pounds. That's not going to be a problem for any toilet. I mean, any toilet that, any toilet that won't hold me squatting on it, I probably wouldn't want to sit on either. Although obviously when you sit, unless you're not very tall, your feet are probably on the floor carrying some of your weight. But the weight is being distributed over the entire seat. And I mean, it depends on how it sits on the bowl. Usually I think there's the hinge point at the back, and then there's usually two supports underneath the seat because it's actually held a little bit off of the toilet bowl. And so your weight should be distributed between those points. I doubt this is going to be an issue for most people. I won't accept liability if you choose to squat. It is the thing to do. There's at least one company. I mean, you can buy a squatty potty. I mean, there are these, I forget what these things are called. That may not be the right name. But there's a device that someone sells, which is a little platform that goes in front of the toilet, and you put your feet up on the platform. And the problem is that you're sitting with your feet up. And sitting with your feet up is not the same as squatting on your feet. Because when you sit with your feet up, your pelvis has been tilted forward. When I'm on my feet, it creates a straight exit path. And when I sit down, the exit path is now have a significant, almost 90-degree bend in it at the end, which makes it much harder to eliminate. There's a whole bunch of things going on physiologically, which make it far superior for you to eliminate from the squatting position. This is the natural position. It's what works best. It is basically what everyone should do if they're able to. Now, if you're not able to squat because of flexibility issues, my recommendation would be to create the increased flexibility by practicing. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted because I'm trying, I'm consistently posting on Instagram as well as on YouTube these videos, and I do not seem to be able to get on today right now. I'm not sure why. Yeah, it's not even giving me the option here. So it says no internet connection, although I am connected. It may well be the cable is not connected on the other side. So I'm not going to worry about that for now. I guess we'll just scrap the Instagram today. Too bad. I mean, I don't like to do that because I know there are people who are expecting me to be there because I'm there every Friday morning. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way and shut that off. Okay, now I can focus on you guys here with me. Okay, so I hope that helps. Now I started saying there's those things. I've seen one platform, and I don't remember the guy's name. Someone in the U.S. has designed something which is made. It's kind of cheap looking. Apparently, it will hold ample weight. I forget how much he claims. I think he claims it holds up to 300 pounds, and it's a folding platform, which you can easily fold down and put out of the way. But it stands just over your toilet bowl, and so you're putting no weight on the toilet. Your weight is on this wooden platform instead, and that way there should be no problem for anyone using this device. This is a way to ensure that you can do this without having to worry about this. Okay. I'm just noticing here, by the way, a comment: bidet versus toilet paper, which is better? That's Bob Smith's. But I would say bidet is definitely better. We don't have them here. I've never owned one, and it wasn't, to be honest, I'd never used one. It always seemed a little strange to me. It wasn't something I was used to, and I wasn't really sure how to use it, and it seemed like maybe it would be, messy. I don't know. I mean, I didn't know. It was one of those things no one ever told me what to do with the thing. So may seem obvious if you know already, but I wasn't aware. Well, I was dating a Turkish woman last year, and spent some time with her at her home in Turkey, and I mean, everywhere they have them there, bidets, and the toilets that weren't made with them, they just add a hose. I mean, it's a fairly simple fix. It could probably be done with any toilet, and turns out it's really easy to use. It's quite pleasant, actually. Some people use a towel. That would seem a little weird to me, having a towel sitting there. In her house, she used paper. Everyone there used paper, but you just took a little bit of paper to dry yourself afterward, and it was clean. It was amazing. It eliminated everything, and it was, of course, eating a fruit and salad based diet. It's very clean anyway, so it's not like it takes much. It might be different for people eating conventionally. It might not be quite as easy to clean. I don't know. Again, I don't have experience. I've never used one 30 years ago when I was eating that way, so I don't know what that would be like. But I think definitely better, because it's more hygienic, and most toilets have chemicals in them from the processing that you probably don't want in this very sensitive area, that you could be absorbing some toxins from the paper. So probably not your best bet. All right, I'm going to scroll back up to the top. We'll start up here. Shalom Aleichem says, hi, Loren. When a person is fasting and the tongue is coated, the water tastes foul. How can a person continue to drink water when it tastes awful? Well, they can. I mean, I've done it. Fortunately, this isn't an issue anymore for me, because when I fast, my mouth doesn't taste bad. It only tastes bad when you're detoxifying. But people do it all the time. One of the things that one can do is they can gently brush their tongue or scrape their tongue. I mean, with a wet toothbrush, you can just very gently brush the tongue. Being careful not to go too far back, which will create a gag reflex and it can make you vomit. But it's not a big deal. I mean, for most people, it doesn't prevent them from drinking water. So if your experience has been that it was hard to drink water, I mean, I encourage people working with me to keep sipping water, even if it's difficult to do. I mean, the fact is that many of the things that we do in life aren't easy, right? I mean, there's challenges. I've been challenged to do many of the things that I've done. The most significant things I've accomplished sometimes with some effort. And, so if you want the benefits, you do what you need to do. And if it's difficult, you do what you need to do anyway. And it's entirely possible to do it, even though it might be a bit difficult. But cleansing your tongue does indeed eliminate some of that flavor. It becomes easier because it doesn't taste so bad if you have a bad taste. Krasimir, good to see you. Gitanjali, namaste to you. Maria, hola. Hello there, good to see you. Hello, Diane, how are you? Good to see you. Hello, Neil, good morning to you. Furan, good to see you. JGRU, new tube. Okay. Loud Tenzu says, hey, Loren, what's up? Hug from PT. I apologize. I don't recall where PT is. Anyway, hug to you as well. I hope you're doing well. Mia says she loves my cute artsy shirt. Yeah, this is a fruit festival in Tandil, Argentina, where I was the special guest speaker last year. This was December. I think it was around the 5th. Maybe there's a date on it. No, doesn't look like it. So Festival Frutal Tandil. Very nice design. There's more. 19, 20. I don't know. 19 of 20. Okay. I got the 19th shirt of 20, apparently. I don't know if it says anything on the back. I don't think there's a date on it, but I think it was around the 4th or 5th of December last year, something like that. So coming up on a year ago. I don't know. I'm actually going to be doing a live broadcast in Spanish on Saturday afternoon on, I think, on Facebook. I think that's the plan, with the organizer of the event, who was a client who fasted with me and spent some time here as an intern as well afterward. And so for anyone in Spanish, that'll be happening, I think, on Saturday afternoon. I don't recall exactly what time, but I'll have to check on that. That's tomorrow. Thanks so much. Fruit Festival, exactly. Hugs to you as well. Little hugs. Oh, you don't want a big hug? Okay. All right. Fair enough. Gutanjali says, what happens when people finish refeeding and go home? They manage to keep it up? Well, each person's different. And so, it depends. I mean, some people come in here. First of all, we get a whole range of people. So we get a lot of people who come here who are already eating close to perfectly. And they will continue doing that. We have other people who leave here eating conventionally. And some of those people are very resistant to change. And they make it clear, I'm not interested in that. I came here to fast. I don't want to hear all this stuff. I mean, they're closed even hearing it sometimes, and they have no intention of changing. Chances are good they don't. Now, it's often true. It's funny. I was clearing some stuff out on my phone. It's actually, I take it back. It was on my laptop this morning, and it said to me, it was saying that there was a space issue. Now, that happens a lot. There's too much stuff on there. We record a lot of videos, and so it takes up a lot of space. And, it said maybe you want to delete some stuff. So I only had a few minutes. I scrolled through and I clicked on one to see what it was. And it was a video interview with me and a client. Actually, it was just her in the picture. I was standing behind the camera talking to her. And a young woman from Spain who, this was probably 3 or 4 years ago. And she was an athlete in her mid-30s, and she came here and she made it very clear that she believed she needed to eat animal protein and didn't intend to change her diet, and et cetera, et cetera. And I said, it's completely up to you, but you're going to get much better results if you follow the program I give you. And I heard from her maybe a month or two after she got home, and she said she was still 100% raw vegan. Now, in the time since then, I've actually worked with her on Skype over the time since then, and I think she's had her ups and downs. I mean, honestly, many people find it to be difficult to make excellent choices in a world that doesn't support that. Some people feel pressure from other people. Some people simply find it hard to not give in to some of their cravings. And of course, the cleaner the body is, the fewer of those cravings there are, the easier it is to avoid that stuff. But some people have a hard time doing it. So there really, there's a whole range. Almost everybody leaves here makes better choices than they did before. Not everybody makes perfect choices. It just varies. So I wish I could say they consistently made excellent choices, but that unfortunately is not the case. Clearly not the case. Eric says, could easily be a placebo effect, referring back to the CMOS thing. Yeah, it's possible. It's possible. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something in there that was actually stimulating a little bit, but it's hard to say. Okay, David Banda says, hi, Loren. What are your thoughts on the Gerson therapy and its comparison to towards fat? Okay, I think, yeah. It looks like there's a bit of a typing issue there, but I understand. You're asking comparing Gerson with fasting. I would say, generally speaking, that fasting should be more powerful and more beneficial. Now, we don't focus on people with cancer. We get people with cancer. I'm currently working with a couple of them. And, I see people these days, I see people with cancer at least 10 or 20 people a year. But that's that's a percentage of the people we work with. It's not like it's the bulk of it. At any given time, I'm normally fasting 40 people at any given time here and via Skype. And when we're closed, I'm still working with 10, 12 people or more via Skype. And I'm actually looking to take that number up as I organize other things. I'm planning on spending more time on Skype, simply because it insulates me from travel issues. This has been a tough year, with very difficult for clients to get here to be able to come to Costa Rica. And so working with people online, which is something I've needed to do to be able to continue paying my staff. We haven't let people go, even though we've had very little work for most of the last 7 months. We've kept everyone on staff because this is my family. And they depend on us here. A lot of people, the majority of Costa Ricans are now suffering significantly because there's been very little work for most people. Most businesses have been closed or largely closed. And it's meant people have been laid off or lost their jobs entirely. Either it's temporary or permanent, but I guess in most cases temporary, but that doesn't help them in the time being. We have laid off no one. And it hasn't been easy, but I've done it by continuing, not continuing, by dramatically increasing the amount of time I spend working with people via Skype. We've had requests in the past. It's just in the past I limited myself to how many people because I had more time available. I took more people on. Now what I'm looking to do is to continue doing that even when we go to being more full here, by better organizing, having more people helping with various things, asking some of my volunteers to take on duties and responsibilities they wouldn't have had in the past, so that I can continue to work with as many people as possible on Skype for two reasons. One, while we're open, if we're full and I have more people on Skype, it means we're generating more income. Most of my income, the income generated by Tanglewood, whatever's not reinvested here and doesn't cover expenses, most of it just covers expenses. It's expensive to run this place. That's a choice, right? We could operate with fewer staff. We could operate with a lower level of quality and luxury, etc. But we don't choose to do that. We've created a beautiful place here. And I say we because I have a whole team here working with me, helping me. Currently, we've got about 15 employees. I think actually lately it's been a little more than that. We've actually increased because we had projects we needed to do with the downtime we had. And so, it's just meant more pressure, a little bit more pressure on me. Right now, unfortunately, I'm the only one actually generating any revenue. And so everyone else is in support positions. But I've been working hours, 4 or 5 hours a day on Skype every day for 7 months now. And I may have to cut that back, but the idea is actually with our new program, to see up to 18 people at a time via Skype on 3 1-hour calls. That's kind of the plan. We'll see what happens. But that's my maximum. We may not get there right away, but that's the maximum I intend to do so that we can invest more into the project. We're trying to create a nature preserve, an intentional community, an amazing project. The land is owned by a foundation that we're setting up. This isn't for my personal enrichment. Full disclosure, I will earn money on this overall project. First of all, I've invested a lot of capital over the years. The company's income, net income, as well as whatever I had before. I have nothing now. That was all invested in the project. And there will be opportunities to earn income. The investors need a return on their income, and someone has to manage the project. I've been developing it. I've been working on this for years. I've invested a lot of capital, so I will be making money on this. And that may be the way that I'll at some point be able to retire. I don't take a salary from Tanglewood, so I could do this forever, and I would never be any closer to being able to retire. I need to work right now because I have no way to live otherwise. It's okay because I'm doing what I enjoy doing. So My age isn't a factor. I feel like I could work forever at this point. Now that may change at some point, but at this point, no issues. So fasting is always going to be superior because we're simply getting out of the body's way. And we've had amazing success. I just realized I started answering a question and somehow went off on this tangent. I do that sometimes. You've probably noticed. Yeah, I mean, I would put my money on fasting properly long enough. And in fact, we just, let's see, 3 or 4 days ago, I have a client who's working with me now who was married. Her husband managed the finances, but both of their names were on the documents. And they had split up based on a previous tax return, or a series of tax returns, I suppose. They were found guilty of tax evasion and she wound up going to prison. I guess they both did for some period of time. She's out now, but one of the conditions of her being out is that she needs to have regular medical checkups. And I don't know, I mean, it's not just, it's a full checkup. I don't know anything about this, why that would be. This is what is. I mean, I suppose part of that might be to make sure that she's not using any substances. She doesn't use any substances, but maybe that's something they check with everyone. But the point is, she was on day 21 of a fast and was required to go have this, it's like every 2 months or something. She has to go see a doctor, 2 or 3 months, whatever it is. She has to go get this full medical examination. And so she went to see her doctor. She'd already had a tumor removed from her breast. She had 3 more tumors show up a couple years later. And that's what happens with medical treatment. Medical treatment does nothing about the underlying cause of the problem, so it comes back. So sure enough, 3 tumors appear in her breast, and the doctor has been watching them for a while. She hasn't wanted to do anything. She doesn't want to get more conventional treatment. It didn't work for her, right? So she finally was able to make this happen. She's been wanting to fast with me for a while. And so here she is finally. She was on day 2. Now, prior to fasting, when the doctor would palpate, with a breast tumor, you can actually feel the tumor. You can get in there and see what is, how big it is and what's happening. Is it increasing? Is it decreasing? When the doctor would touch it, she would have excruciating pain. Okay, it would be incredibly painful for her. And so, I mean, the doctor wanted to always see what was happening, but it was incredibly painful for her. She was at the doctor's three days ago, and the doctor couldn't find the tumors, and she experienced zero pain. While the doctor is looking for them, there was zero pain, okay? They disappeared in 21 days fasting. Now, we see this a lot, but not everyone's aware of this. I mean, this is what happens. And the difference is that unlike conventional medical treatment, the fasting also allows the body to actually heal, to, not just to eliminate the tumor, but to eliminate the cause of the problem, which is toxicity and poor immune function. So by the time someone's done their process, the body is much less toxic because it's been detoxifying at a rapid rate, and immune function is much better. It boosts the body's immune function, fasting does. So this is the most powerful thing that someone can do. And this is what is happening. Oh, I think I understand what's going on here. I just realized, I apologize 1 second here. Let me go back and try this. Yeah, sometimes I'm kind of an idiot. I'm not really sure I understand why this is, but what seems to happen with my iPhone, again, I'm not sure if this is normal or what it is. Someone said to me it shouldn't be this way, but my iPhone was on airplane mode. And when I'm on airplane mode, I can't get messages or anything. So I'm guessing that's why Instagram didn't work. And I keep it on airplane mode most of the time, but here I was kind of rushing to no, looks like we're still having an issue. All right. Anyway, well, it's okay. I mean, I probably won't be able to make this happen today. Give me just 1 second. Bear with me here. I'm sorry. don't mean to. So I noticed we have a couple more super chats. Let me scroll down. I'll come back up if there's time. Furan, who has made a contribution of 200 ARS. ARS. I have no idea what that is. Thank you very much for your contribution. I won't pretend I know what that means exactly, but now it looks like we're ready. Okay, so I think we're going live. If that is, nope, having trouble. Okay, doesn't look like it's working. All right, never mind. So the question is, since I started my raw food journey a couple of years ago, the urge of moving to tropics keeps increasing. When I found out about you in Tanglewood, Las Cascadas, I fell in love with the project. Fantastic, Farhan. Well, thank you so much for your comment. And says, in the case that I can save up for a plane ticket to Costa Rica, is there any chance for volunteering where I could work and help there? I'm willing to give everything I have to be part of the cause. Okay, well, I think what we can do maybe is find a time to connect on this separately. Typically, we only take volunteers who have spent at least 21 days fasting with us first. And the reason is very simple. This is a fasting center. And right now, I mean, this is what we have. We don't really have much going on at Las Cascadas yet. We're working on getting the site plan together, but we can't build anything until that happens. And so right now, the opportunity is here. And here, because we're a fasting center, I want my volunteers to be people who know the process. I have 6 volunteers here currently. 2 of them have fasted with me once each, and the other 4, let's see, 3 of them have fasted with me 3 times, and one of them fasted with me twice. I mean, she started to fast with me a second time. I had to stop it because she was too lean and had electrolyte issues, and then a few months later she was able to fast. She was able to do it again. So she's now done 2 fasts. The other 3 people have all fasted with me 3 times. So I'm not going to say no. I'm going to say that we'll need to communicate about this offline sometime. It's not what we typically do. Maybe there's a way to make it work. Maybe you could take your funds and do some fasting with us. I would encourage you to find a way, and I'll be happy to talk with you about this, to create something for yourself. Again, as I've shared before, just a reminder to everyone here, we now live in a global marketplace, right? I mean, look here, we have people here from probably at least 10 or maybe even 20 different countries. Everyone speaks English, or at least understands it. And there is the possibility now to offer something of value, some service or some product, to millions of people around the world. Maybe 1 billion people around the world who understand English. You have a big marketplace, and you're not limited to the economy of your country. So if you're living in a country where, I saw AR and thought maybe Argentina, but except that, I don't know it's Argentinian peso, but I don't think that's a P. I don't remember what the designation for their currency is. Maybe that's where you're from. I know the Argentinian peso is now worth a fraction of what it was when just a few years ago. It was worth, there were 15 to the dollar, and now there's 180 to the dollar. So trying to convert from pesos to dollars, doesn't get anyone very far. But this is a perfect example. Although you live in Argentina, you have a market, if that's the case. You have a market that's the whole world, and there are people who are willing to pay in dollars, and that means you're generating a lot more pesos. You're generating dollars, so you can spend dollars. That's something to perhaps to think about. But let's talk. Let's see. We're looking for committed people. There's going to be tons of opportunities here in this project, because there are going to be a lot of businesses looking for someone to run them, and you could run a business and earn ownership in the business. To buy a lot, you're going to have some capital, but there's going to be some possibilities perhaps. So let's talk, Farhan. Okay, thanks for reaching out. Natasha, has made a 5-pound contribution. Hello, Natasha. I'm glad to see you here, and I appreciate your contribution very much. She says, I'm veggie and I've eaten lots of fast food, pasta, and may be deficient in nutrients. Is it better to follow a raw diet before a guided fast? Well, I encourage everyone to spend at least 3 or 4 weeks eating as close to optimally as possible before fasting. But I'll tell you, that's not necessary. Some people, will tell you it is, but having actually taken many thousands of people through fast averaging 26 days, I doubt half of the people have actually done what I've asked them to. And most of the ones who were already doing it, that did do it, were already doing it. So many people have done better. Most people probably do a better job. But even if you're not 100% raw, that doesn't mean you can't fast. We still have a tiny amount of space for December. I'm just speaking to the group now. Natasha, it may not be for you, but we have a tiny amount of space for our December 19th opening. If you're interested in coming then, this would be the time to reserve. You still have an amazing opportunity because we are still offering a 20% discount for full payment now. There's a short fuse on that, so you're going to want to take advantage of that as soon as you can. If you miss that, we have never done this before. I don't expect we'll ever do this again. I don't know what the future is going to bring. It's entirely possible that we're still in for plenty more stuff from this whole global pandemic. It's not a pretty thing. There's some nasty stuff coming, and I don't know how that's going to affect us in the future. Whether we get locked down again and etc. Unfortunately, I think that's probably the case. Now, I'm hoping enough people stand up to this nonsense, and people like Bill Gates and what's his name, the head of the World Health Organization. These people should be in prison for what they've done and are still doing. But I doubt that's going to happen. In any case, I don't know. I hope so. I hope I'm wrong about that. There's an opportunity to save now. You don't have to know when you're coming. You'll have up to 2 years to get here and longer if there are more lockdowns. So Costa Rica, as of November 1st, is now going to be open to most people. Not all countries yet, but all Americans, everyone from the UK. I'm guessing Natasha, who made a contribution in pounds, is in the UK. Let's see. All of the EU countries can come, some Asian countries, and we're opening. There are flights being arranged from Mexico and many other countries now as of the 1st or the 15th of November. So by the time we open, theoretically, unless something changes again, you probably could get here from almost anywhere. There's an opportunity here, and it's an amazing thing. And do the best you can, Natasha. If your diet isn't perfect, that's okay. You can still see amazing things. Okay, you're very welcome, Natasha. Thank you so much. Gitanjali says, I have your cancer patients succeeding curing themselves. Yeah, not all of them have. Every case is different. Early stage cancers do very, very well with fasting. With later stage cancers, it depends on the situation. I fasted a young, 42-year-old, young to me guy, about 2-3 months ago, who had stage 4 cancer. It had started in his colon and spread to his spine and lymphatic system. He was literally told by the NHS in the UK to go home and enjoy himself, do whatever he wanted to, because he would be dead within a couple weeks. He fasted with me for 6 weeks. He lived for another couple months. He did wind up dying. It was too late. Sometimes the body is not going to heal. It just depends on the situation. But coming back to that question, I respect the fact that Gerson has a much higher success rate than does conventional medicine. But I think the most important thing to understand is that eliminating a tumor is just the start, right? Because the tumor is a symptom of cancer. And what we need to do is actually eliminate the cause of the problem, the toxicity and poor immune function. Fasting does that spectacularly well. And so anytime the body is still able to deal with this, we're going to see amazing results. Okay, that's what typically happens. Fred says, the economy here is collapsing and the government won't even allow us to buy dollars. Yeah, that's Argentina. Okay. Yeah, I know it's rough. I know it's rough. You may know that Fran is here working with me. I should say this is Fran Turk. We've had, I think I've worked with 3 or 4 Franciscos from Argentina. Fran Turk is here now from Argentina, working with me on a project. But again, you can, go create a market in dollars. And I don't know how difficult it would be to set up an account somewhere else, but there are online systems. There's always ways to get around this. There are. I know that the government is a mess. I mean, it sounds like it'd be a really good time to get out of Argentina. It would have been better while you still had your assets still had some value. If you could have cashed in a few years ago, whatever you had, you'd have been a lot better off. But hindsight is 2020. In the meantime, you do the best you can with what you have right now. And my advice would be to find a way, and there's always a way, right? I'd be glad to help you if I can. Thank you, Hero. I appreciate that. Yeah, Bob, I see that. Thank you. Got it. Fiddy Frank, what do volunteers do there? They do all kinds of things. It depends. I mean, we have a full staff to do most of the normal processes. So volunteers, I'm looking for people who can help me with things that we really need to do. So I have a volunteer now working with me. There's, again, these are people who've all fasted with me many times. And they want to be part of our community and they want to be around long term in most cases. I have a volunteer who's been working with me on this program with Skype fasting. We've been, renovating the program, creating a much better, much more powerful program and process for our clients. And she's been doing most of the work. I've recorded videos. We recorded like 75 videos. We're done with that. We're now in the process. We're writing emails. She's finding quotes, getting the whole thing organized. We use a sophisticated contact management program called Infusionsoft, which we've had for a long time, but it's complicated. And so she doesn't understand it. I don't understand it, where she's in the process of working with a contractor to upload everything, because it's going to be an auto feed program once someone's enrolled in it. That's all happening. We have people. I've got a new program called the Academy for Vibrant Living. We are developing our first course. It should be available around sometime in December. I'm not sure if it'll be early or late December. It'll be available. It will be, it's a nutrition and health course. How long it takes, it's self-guided online program. For someone who focuses on it full time, they can probably do it in 2 or 3 months. For someone who's working full time, has a family, and it's a very part-time thing, it might take them a year to finish it. But it's going to be a comprehensive course that teaches people everything, and is the precursor for those people who want to become a health coach that will certify, Tanglewood certified health coach. You need to take this course first. I mean, there are programs you can become a health coach in 6 months, but you can't possibly learn everything about health in 6 months. It's not possible. There's way more than that. And so our program is 2 courses. First, you do the program to take your own health to an amazing level. Once you've passed that successfully, then we'll teach you how to coach. And I've been coaching now for 30 years, right? And Fran also has coaching. He's a young man. He's around 30, I think, 30, 31. But he's got a certification in a coaching program. His wife is now doing a certification as well in someone else's program, and that will help us. And so we're working on getting that program together. I have volunteers, Guzel, who does all of my videos. She produces all the videos we put up every week, aside from these live broadcasts, which she's not usually involved. She's also about to take on my Instagram. She's a volunteer. She fasted with me 3 times. First came 4.5 years ago. She was married at the time. She and her husband later divorced. She came back to fast again and never left. She wanted to stay as a volunteer. She wound up taking over producing my videos. As you've seen, they've gotten better and better. She does an amazing job. Big shout out to Gazelle if you're watching. She's not here now. She's actually off for a couple weeks visiting friends. And but she's been doing an amazing job. She's lived on site now for a couple of years, and this is invaluable for me. And so it just depends. There's all kinds of possibilities. Okay. Natasha has made another contribution, 5 pounds, and said, I did a week fast last year, but experienced serious heartburn and bile. I know the body was trying to heal, but do you know what may cause that? Yeah, that's caused by toxicity and the need for the liver to cleanse. And the problem, Natasha, wasn't the heartburn and bile. It was that you weren't clear what was and wasn't okay. Honestly, again, every fasting expert for the last 150 years has said the same thing. Only fast. I mean, a week is okay, but beyond that, and real healing takes much longer, right? If you've been on the planet for 20 years or more, 21 days is the minimum fast I'd recommend, and we rarely do fast shorter than that. We can. I mean, people do. We just had a guy left who did 11 days, but most of our guests here, the average is 26. This session, we've had people doing some doing 21. We just had 2 people leave after 21 days. We had 2 guys here that wound up doing 28. We had several people do 30. We had a couple people do 26. We had 2 guys do 40. And let's see, we have a couple here now. He did 21 days with me previously. She was only willing to do 16, so they came to do 16 days. And now they're talking about extending to 21. And I hope they do, because it's way more powerful. A 21-day fast is like 5-6 times more powerful than what you accomplish with a 1-week fast. It actually takes 10 to 11 days to get into the deepest part of the process. But this should only ever be accomplished with experienced guidance. The difference is enormous. I hear this all the time from people. They're astounded by how much more benefit they get with me, and it's because they can relax and surrender to the process, because they know that I'm looking out for them and understand what's going on, right? They mostly, like you, I mean, how can you know if you've never done this before? Okay, I fasted thousands of people now over 23, almost 24 years, and so and have done like 40 long fasts myself over the last 35 years. So it's quite different than when you're trying to take yourself through this challenging process. Okay. All right, let me scroll back up. How are we doing? We have about 5 or 10 minutes left. I have a call right after this, a group call with a bunch of people fasting with me now via Skype. Again, a reminder for those, if anyone here, I mean, if you're ready, Natasha, if you're ready to take your health to an amazing new level, I will unconditionally guarantee you in writing that if you follow my coaching, you will achieve a level of health you've never experienced before. Okay, that's what happens. It's incredible what occurs for people when you give the body a chance to clean the garbage out. I shared with you what happened for this young woman who, breast tumors are gone after 21 days. She's still going, by the way. This is day 24, 25 for her. I don't remember. Her plan was to do 40. We'll see what happens. I have somebody else who's on day 36 of a 40-day fast right now with me via Skype. He's doing fine. We already spoke today. I have 2 other people who both did 26. No, I think she did 26 and he did 30. He fasted with me last year for 40 days, 42 days. And this year did 30. She did 26. They're both refeeding, and we have several other people in various stages of their processes. A woman who is, where is she now? I think she's now at 21 days. I don't remember where everybody is, but I have a guy on day 3 right now via Skype. So, if you're ready to take it to the next level, you've got 2 options. One is coming here. It's spectacularly beautiful here. It's amazing. We've just put our schedule up on the website for next year. We're going to be open more than we have been before, assuming that we're able to be open. If they don't shut us down again, we're going to be open more than before. We in the last 15, 16 years. No, I take that back. Let's see, in the last 9 years, we've been open 30 weeks a year. We used to be open 36 weeks, and we're actually going back to 36 weeks. It's a different schedule. It used to be 4 9-week sessions that left 4-week breaks. We're now doing 3 12-week sessions. That gives us a little bit more break in between and a little bit more intense time during the session. You know, by the end of the session, it's a bit much. Now, we've now had clients here since late June, early July. I've had people, I think it was actually like mid-June. We had people fasting. Not many. We only had a couple people back then. We had one of my volunteers fast. We had a young Costa Rican girl fasting. We had a older Costa Rican man fasting. And then we were supposed to close in early July. We had people coming then, people who were already in the country, a few. And then when they started opening the doors back up in early August, we started to see a flow of people. So I've now been working with people, let's see, half of June, July, August, September, October's almost over. It's now been more than 4 months, almost 4.5 months, and it's going to wind up being almost 5 months by the time we're done. That's a lot to do without a single day's break. You know, every day here with clients fasting. So we don't normally do that, but we're going to be doing 12-week sessions, which is doable. It requires some stamina for sure. Fortunately, I still have plenty of stamina. Okay. Let me scroll back down here, make sure I'm not missing anything. I did miss Anna Zero has made a $1 contribution. Thank you, Anna. I appreciate that very much. Anna, there's no question or comment. Was there something else you wanted to say or ask? I'm happy to answer a question for you if you'd like. You're very welcome, Natasha. I'm glad you're here, Plant Best Ethos. I see your message. Let's see. Vulgar Beauty, would you consider doing a 21-day blog and show us what your symptoms are and they explain to us what's happening? I'm not sure who that question is for. I don't think that's for me. Lao Tenzu, if you do a prolonged fast and your body detoxifies some but not enough, then you can start to get all the essential nutrients with the optimal diet. Yeah, I mean, listen, lots of people do really well with an optimal diet, even without fasting. Everybody does much better when they fast, when they get the body clean. You know, it makes an enormous difference. There's no question about that. Raw Intuition says, generally, how long do you recommend between 21-day fasts a year? No, it varies from person to person, but for most people, ideal seems to be, and I've changed on this. I used to recommend at least 9 months. I now find, I mean, first of all, with people who are obese or have serious, I'm closing some doors here because it's just started to rain. It's a little bit quieter with the doors closed. So I still have an open window here, but maybe I'll close that a little bit too. Yeah, okay. That should be maybe a little bit better. It's starting to get harder, so it'll make it louder. But, you know, it depends. I mean, for most people, I find that 7 months, 7-8 months is probably ideal as a good minimum. But it does vary from person to person depending on what's going on for them. And so I'll sometimes fast people only 3 months later if they're dealing with a life-threatening situation, or it just depends. I mean, circumstances depend. And just someone commented on one of my videos last night, I think, or at least I saw it last night. Maybe that was this morning, and they said they did 3 weeks or 4 weeks, and then ate for a week or something in 2 weeks, and then went and did another X amount of weeks. That is not something I'd ever recommend doing. That's not a good idea. The body needs much more time than that to rebalance and get, you know, really regrounded again. We don't want to be going into fasts when the body is out of balance. So it makes much more sense to rebalance things instead. Okay? Hope that makes sense. Is that Fitty or Filthy, Frank? Which airport? How to get to Tanglewood? You can fly into San Jose, the main airport in Costa Rica, or Liberia, looks like Liberia. Both those work. We're closer to LIR, Liberia, but there are a lot fewer flights and they tend to be much more expensive. And so most of our guests come into San Jose. Because of that, we offer a shuttle every Saturday at 3 p.m., leaving San Jose to come here. We get people back there by noon. We don't have a shuttle to Liberia because so few people fly in and out of there, even though it's much closer. It's about 90 minutes, and San Jose is about 3.5 hours, so it's less than half the distance. But the flights are more expensive most of the time, and there are a lot fewer of them. There are fewer options. So we do have a great taxi, a great driver from Liberia who will bring people here and back for $125 each way. Just, it's not, first step is probably to get yourself registered when you can while we still have space, and then we can work out all the details. Costa Rica is an easy country to get around. People here are super friendly and nice. We can arrange to get you from either airport. It's no problem. Let me see. Oh, I'm almost out of time here. Fareed says, thanks, Loren. See you in December. Looking forward to it, Fareed. I'm glad it was great to see you yesterday. I'll be glad to see you here in person. It's going to be an amazing thing for you for sure. Ron Tuition, you're very welcome. Ron Tuition, thanks so much. I appreciate the contribution. Anna says, I work in the medical field. Unfortunately, I have to get the flu vaccine. My question is, when should I fast to get rid of the heavy metals from the vaccine? Before the flu or after the flu? Well, you want to fast after the vaccine to get rid of the vaccine, the toxins from the vaccine. Okay, my 10 o'clock call has started without me. It's time for me to jump on there and get that. I'm seeing I have a whole bunch of messages on Skype this morning, 4 or 5 other messages. So, folks, it's been really great being with you. I'm now a tiny bit late for my next call, so I'm going to jump off. I've got a bunch of clients on there waiting to talk with me. It's been a pleasure to see you all. Anna, let's make this happen. Natasha, come on down. Frank, if you guys are ready to create an amazing level of health, I guarantee you're going to be blown away by what happens. Okay? Great to see you. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.